All right, guys. I have no idea what that intro is. That is a late edition by our man 18 Wheels here. I really have no idea what that was. It sounded like an old Western Star that was having some difficulties getting up the
Sounds
hill.
like you
But
got somebody backing up next to you too.
uh, actually, somebody's broke down on the scale up here, and it's the Love's little pickup truck going to pull them out. All right.
Dang, not the
So,
little
what do we
pickup
want to do?
truck.
You want
That's pretty crazy, man. Who we got in the chat today, man?
you want to bring your guest on in? We got Newman Attack is first. He says, "Fire up the couch."
Fire up the
You want to go
couch. I am sure as hell is sitting on it because that's exactly where we are, right here on the goddamn couch, man.
So
But
you want to
yep,
bring your guest in? There we go.
Shamon's in the building, grinding
Hey,
gears,
what's
man. How
going?
you doing, brother?
Doing pretty good. What's up? What's up? What's up?
All right, man. All right. So let's see here. How many people we got so far? What
We
we
only got
looking
four
at?
people in here yet.
Man, we got
Uh,
stragglers today.
yeah, we got a few strikes. It's Easter, buddy. Just give it a few minutes. Go ahead and let's just talk about other stuff, and then we'll get
All
into
right, man. Let's see. Let's
there's
let's
country.
talk
What's
about
up,
your week,
country?
man. How's your week been going?
I've been
Um,
doing pretty good. All right, my week or his week?
We're
Come on,
gonna start with
specify.
James. Let's start.
Okay.
Let's start with James first.
yeah, my week was pretty decent. I'm doing a 34 right now in Ohio, but I will start driving tonight around midnight or so. But not a bad week. It could always be better, but not a bad week. I think I ended up around the $6,200 $6,300 range. Like I said, it could have been a lot better, but not horrible. What about you, D?
I'm all right. I can't complain all that much. I did end up attempting to change my shocks out, and apparently one of them, one of the bolts, like frozen stuck on there. So I gotta go to Harbor Freight tomorrow because nobody's open today. Get me like a grinder and cut that old son bitch off. Had to replace one of my airbags because one of them was leaking. So that was, fun in it of itself. But I'm all the way up here in Wisconsin, man. Like south of Milwaukee, it's pretty chilly out here. I'm just, keeping it warm, eating me some halal food. So, what about you, Shimon? How your week been going?
Doing pretty good. Just doing a bunch of what do you call them? Like the sponsored videos for Mighty Products. They sent me a bunch of stuff in the mail earlier this week, so I've had to install some of it on the truck and been recording and doing review videos.
Yeah, I just saw your latest video. You had put up some mirrors, the hood mirrors on the truck. It looked pretty nice,
Yes,
man.
I
You did a
finally put the
pretty
hood
clean
mirrors on.
install.
Yeah, the hood mirrors and the airlines, and they sent me some other stuff that I'll be
Yeah,
sharing here
saw the
pretty soon.
airlines one as well too. And for those who haven't
Hmm.
been watching, you also have you have more than one you have more than one truck. You got a couple trucks, but you don't have
Yes,
enough, you don't have any drivers for 'em. One guy with three trucks, right?
yeah. So I call them YouTube trucks. So the FLD, once that one's done being painted and we get the interior done on it, it's just going to be a backup truck to the Classic I'm in. And
Mm-hmm.
then the cab over, that was just an impulse buy. I don't know why I got that thing. Well, I
You
got it for
know
the
why you
content.
got that thing.
Okay, I got it. I got it for the content and for like the networking and stuff, but and for the collaborations. But um, I don't know. Now I kind of look at it like,
But
why
too
did I
late
get
for
this
that
thing?
now. You already got it. You making moves with it. So what truck you driving
Yes,
you're in right now? Tell the people what
I'm
kind
in
of
a
truck you're
Classic
in
right
right
now.
now.
So right
Freightliner
now I'm in my
Classic.
'07 Classic. Yes.
Well, what's that? 10 speed, 14, 18?
Now this is a
Manual.
Come on
Yeah.
now. What's this?
Yeah, I know it's a manual, but we 10 speed, 12 speed, 14,
Nah, so
18.
with the red selector on the side of it, it's a 13.
Okay. Hey, I'm not too versed in all the little colors and all that stuff. And I don't know. All I know, you got 10, 12, 14, 18, shoot, 21, 47 speeds, all kind of speeds all over the place, man. Shoot.
Yes, if it's got
Twin
the gray
stick, one
selector, it's
stick.
an 18. If it's got the 18, the gray is a 18, the red is a 13. And if it doesn't have a side splitter, then it only has this one here, then it's a 10.
Right, gotcha. And you, the classic that you're in right now, you recently got that not too long ago, right?
I guess about a month and a half to 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Already did a few things to it.
And it's treating you well so far?
Yeah, I don't have any complaints to it other than having to replace the radiator due to a rock working its way up and chipping it. But other than that, I've got zero complaints with her.
Gotcha. Let's hit the comments there, James. Let's see what the people are talking about.
Let me see here. John Huntley, grinding. How's that classic, bro? And we got John Huntley replying to country. John Huntley, good evening, gents. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter to those who celebrate it.
And Ritter's real Rose Dog. Glad to see you, Grinding Gears. Did I say that right? Rose Dog?
Yep.
Justin Burgers is in the house. Hello, Simone. And Newman said, stopped at any casinos lately? Looking for a good one.
Well, you're the casino expert guy, so
yeah, I don't know about a casino expert, but I got a few you can call me about. You know how to get a hold of me. I'll tell you where the casinos are. Country says, hey, John. And it looks like Newman Attack became a member. I'm assuming that he joined mine. I don't know if it's yours or mine, but
no, I don't have that. I don't have that stuff.
You don't have that?
Okay. You got all.
Thank you, Newman. Appreciate it.
You got all the special stuff like that going on. Not me, brother.
Three Rigs and Company, evening, fellas.
I'm just here to have a good time.
James G says 18's couch doesn't have the red button.
Listen, man, y'all leave me in my couch alone, okay? Shoot.
And Ritter said, future's so bright, 18's got to wear shades. Ain't that true?
Damn right, man. Shoot.
And Newman says, I talked about that shit. I cleanse your channels.
Oh, you going to up me? You going to up one on me, Shimon?
What you got?
That's what I'm talking about. There we go. Mr. Smooth Operator in the building, boy. Look at him. Grinding Gears Shimon's in the building, everybody. All right, man. So let's get
my glasses on. I won't be able to see anything.
All right, so let's get into your background, man. So what were you doing before trucking?
So before trucking, I was actually in the music business. I was doing anything from music lessons to on-stage performances, to jam sessions, to live sessions, studio sessions, church performances. You mentioned it. I was doing it. DJing. I did DJing for a little bit. Yeah, I was doing that full time. If it had to do with music, I was doing it.
So you were signed to a label or anything like that?
So I started my own label, but my manager was one of the founders of Death Row Records, which is where your Tupac, Suge Knight, and all that fun stuff came from. But she was my manager. I didn't want to sign to a label because before this whole Diddy stuff started happening, I was telling people about it. Nobody wanted to believe me. But so I knew about all that behind the scenes stuff going on. So I didn't want to sign to a label. But I told her that she could manage me instead. And that way, one, they didn't own me. Two, she was paid commission or a percentage based rather than, me being under her, her over her wing. But yes, I was tied into that stuff. But I didn't want to know. I was like, hey, that was the past. I don't want to know. Don't incriminate me. I don't want to be associated with what y'all got going on. So I just want you to manage me. That way, we still have our own private entities.
Right. How long were you doing music for?
Ooh, so I dropped out of college to do it. I had an engineering scholarship for like petroleum engineering when I was going to college, and I dropped out after like 2.5 years to pursue music full time. Everybody thought I was crazy, but that was
School
my passion.
wasn't for you?
Not at all. Not at all.
I feel you, dude. I was the same way. I went to school. I tried college, just to get my basics. Didn't work out. I went to med school to try to be an MA. That didn't work out. I was like, yeah, this is not for me. I'm more of a hands-on type person. I got to be able to physically do what I'm doing. Not books
Right.
are not going to help me in any kind of way whatsoever.
Right.
So what got you into trucking?
COVID. So when COVID hit, we lost the majority of our clientele over that summer due to music lessons being face to face.
Uh huh.
I had a 50 city tour lined up that got canceled because, all the live shows got canceled. And with me being a second gen trucker, my dad had his own company for like 35, 40 years or so. And so
Hmm.
I knew trucking like the back of my hand. And so my wife and I, we went out through faith, bought a hot shot rig, did that for a little while. I had a direct contract with Drive Time and Carvana hauling their cars back and forth, and another company
Okay.
called Vroom. I had a direct contract with them hauling in the Houston area, and then saw what the hot shot market was doing, so decided to move up and get my CDL. Went through Frozen Food Express / KLLM, got my CDL, stayed with them for a year, went to Cardinal Logistics for about 3 months. We bought our house, and as soon as I got the keys to my house, I decided to quit and become an owner operator because when buying a house, you got to be. But it's preferable to be a W-2.
Right. Right.
So, got the house, got the keys. The next day, I called and said, "Hey, I quit. I got a truck, and I'm going to become an owner operator."
All right. So, give us a brief rundown of your experience with doing refrigerated loads at frozen refrigerated.
So I really liked hauling reefer. It was definitely different rather than just backing into the dock because you had the responsibility of washouts and the reefer unit and everything and the controlled
Mm-hmm.
temperature. But what I don't miss are the wait times. Being in a dock for either 8 minutes or 8 hours. You just never
I
knew.
hear you.
I don't miss that at all. But I
Yeah.
did
One
like
thing
it though.
about reefer. Yeah. One thing about reefer, man. Those hours. Funny thing is, they'll unload you within like 20, 30 minutes, and then you'll spend the next 7.5 hours waiting for them because they're counting product, which is it doesn't make no sense to me whatsoever. Like, why are you holding up my time? And then if
Right.
there's something that they don't like, for instance, I had a load of watermelon that went to a grocery store. I wasn't a reefer load, but it was dry van. Brought it all the way from Florida up to Massachusetts, just for them to reject half the load. I go look
Yep.
at the watermelon. There's nothing wrong with them.
Yep.
Nothing wrong. They got some little gadget they talking about that they
Yep.
stick in the watermelon. They're
Yep.
talking about its sweetness and all that stuff. I'm like, well, if it ain't sweet enough, just put it in the corner over there and let it ripe. You know,
Right.
wait,
Right.
it wastes your time, and then I had to drive all around to go find some place to offload that because I wasn't driving all the way back to Florida with that. That doesn't
Yep.
make any sense, man. So yeah,
Right.
reefer, you can make some money, man, but you're gonna do a lot of sitting more than driving, man. So
Right.
yeah, I
Yeah, I
got you.
want to get back into it. I want to go out and buy my own reefer unit, but not as an owner out. As a company guy, I can fight for detention, get paid
Hmm.
hourly while sitting there, but as an owner out, that's a whole nother kind of fight, you know.
Yeah, different ball game, man.
Hmm.
So after FFE, you decided that you wanted to be an owner operator, right?
Hmm. Right.
Was now we know that you're at Landstar. Was Landstar your first choice
Yes. So
to
actually,
become?
my buddy, his channel is 18 Wheels, but I had talked him into going to Landstar. So I met him while I was hauling cars. We had the same
Uh huh.
contractor. He was just a company driver at the time. And we had talked, and he had respected me being an owner operator. And I told him, I was like, hey, because he had wanted to buy a hot shot rig. And I told him, don't go out here right now in the COVID times when nobody can find CP4s and the warranties are crap and trucks are breaking down and everybody's doing this hot shot stuff. You're going to spend
Right.
120 grand on a hot shot setup right now. Go take 15, 20 grand and go buy a power only unit. You got your CDL already, and go find a company to lease on to. Well, he took my advice. He did that. Meanwhile, I was at FFE, getting my CDL. We kind of reacquainted later on.
Yep.
And he told me, hey, I took your advice and I bought a truck. What now? So he ended up going to go haul containers first. And then while I was at FFE, I met a guy who used to work at Landstar, who was a dispatcher. And so I learned about Landstar. I told my buddy, I was like, hey, go check out Landstar. So he did. And then while he was over there, he was like, hey, it's good over here. Come on over. And he had found a fleet over at Landstar that does like a lease purchase program, which is a scam. And so I ended up falling for that trap, did the lease purchase.
That's what you got into?
Yeah. And that's how I got in. Yeah. And so I did that for a little while. And then I had a subscriber reach out to me saying, hey, I got an FLD sitting here. It's not in the best of shape, but I'll sell it to you. We'll make a deal off of it. Hop in this truck and go out there and cut out the middleman, make your money. And that's what we did.
Got you, brother. What do we have here in the comments, James?
Not a lot. Let's go through them here. Already read that one. Ritter says grinding gears, said no to the baby oil. Jonah Green, good evening.
Good evening, Jonah.
John,
how you doing, man?
John Huntley, my recommendations for health insurance, I've got one guy that I deal with. I'd be more than happy to pass that along to you. If you want to give me a text or a ring tomorrow, I'll be more than happy to give you my guy's information. That's really all I have for that.
Right.
That's the only
So
comment.
you decided to come in to join Landstar, but you didn't have a truck at the time, right? A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that you can still join Landstar even if you don't have a truck, because a lot of owner operators do have multiple trucks here. They
Correct.
do have there are companies inside of Landstar that does do leasing trucks to other drivers, and you can actually be a
Correct.
company driver here, but not through Landstar, but through other individuals as well.
Mm-hmm.
So give us a brief rundown your experience with that right there. We know you started off with the Lone Star, which in my opinion, the ugliest truck I've ever seen on the goddamn planet.
Negative.
It gives me
Negative.
nightmares, and it always reminds me of that truck from the movie Maximum Overdrive. So I just dislike the look of that truck. Period. Everything.
Now I will tell you this. I'm in agreement with you. I do think that is one of the ugliest trucks out there. However, I did it because nobody else on YouTube had that truck. And then I also learned that it's an international truck. They drive those trucks, I believe, in like Australia, New Zealand, and overseas. So that's how I grew an international audience. No pun intended. That's how I grew an international audience, because I had a truck that they drive overseas, so they were familiar with it. And then you go and type in Lone Star, International Lone Star. I was the only one that popped up on YouTube. Nice. And so I had my own.
You had
audience.
Already started YouTube at before you had got the truck and everything?
No, so my wife kept trying to get me to do it. You should do YouTube. You should do YouTube. And I always had it in the back of my mind. It took Just Trucking and T-Dubs to actually talk me into it. To actually like, hey, you should do it. Stop messing around. Sit down and actually get out there and do it. And when they talked me into it, that's when I decided to go ahead and take that leap of faith and get into it. Well,
okay.
All right. Let me stop. He showed me how much money he was making.
Yeah.
And then that's when I was like, okay, all right, let me sign up. Yeah, when he showed me how much money he was making, I said, all right. I said, all right, yeah, you got it. But when it came down to the marketing, the advertising, like the media side of things, I already knew and understood how to do it due to my entertainment background.
Okay.
So when it came to cameras and stuff, I worked with like your top-notch videographers and photographers. So when it came to that stuff, I didn't really know it per se, but I was familiar with it, like terminologies and different angles from learning from working with the top-notch people. I just never paid attention to it because I always hated that stuff. Right. And when it came to editing and all that, I was able to pick up on those things from the music industry, so I knew how to do it. It was just that I didn't want to have to do it all over again. I felt like I was finally behind the scenes and not in the spotlight anymore. So it was definitely a leap of faith getting back into it and just kind of stepping outside of my comfort zone. But I have no regrets, though. Zero regrets.
Absolutely, man. I got you on that. Understood. We're gonna go and we're gonna take a quick pause right here. Go ahead and do the comments while I go ahead and pull up our first news article of the evening.
So Thomas, the rates are horrible at Schneider. I'm stuck between F2F, Mercer, and JB Hunt. Um, I'll be honest with you, Thomas. Between those four companies, I mean, it's really a toss up. Um, I mean, I don't really recommend any of those companies. I don't know anything about Mercer, so I can't speak for Mercer. But JB Hunt, F2F, and Schneider, um, I mean, rates are horrible right now everywhere. Yeah, I mean, it really is a toss up. You go to the lesser of all evils, and honestly, the lesser of all evils in that, in my book, is going to be F2F. That's kind of why I'm here. Newman Attack. Place the equivalent of insurance payment and interest building around you. You will be better off. And Rig Pig says, evening, fellas. So let's get this up.
Evening, Rig Pig. All right, man. Crazy stuff is going on in the trucking industry. Another one bites the dust. Davis, out of Florida, is shutting down. 44 years, man. Reefer company. I know you guys have seen those trucks up and down the highway before, and it's kind of crazy, man. Would you consider Davis a mega carrier or just a small, medium fleet?
Well, they had, from what I read, they had 120 trucks. But the big thing that they had is they had the Publix contract. You know that, right?
Okay.
They had the Publix contract. So what they would do is take the Publix stuff from Lakeland up into Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee. You know, the southern states that had Publix. That's what they did, and transferred the stuff.
Gotcha, man.
That was their big contract. So now Publix going to be looking for somebody.
Yep, family-owned refrigerated carrier is shut down after 44 years in operation. See, a Florida-based trucking company has announced plans to shutter operations after decades in business. On Wednesday, April 16, company owner Jimmy Davis announced that Davis Express Inc. out of Stark, Florida, would close after 44 years in business. Let's see, the family-owned company employs 140 trucks and operates 160 power units. According to the FMCSA, Davis Express provides refrigerated services to the Southeast region. Jimmy Davis pointed to a combination of retirement plans, unfavorable market conditions, and increase in legal risk as a reason for the closure. This is what he says. The last few years have been very challenging for refrigerated trucking as costs continue to rise while rates remain flat and have decreased. Well, which one is it? Did it stay flat or did it decrease? Got to be one or the other, right? We have been unprofitable since early 2023 and do not see any signs of improvement in 2025. In addition, plaintiff attorneys have increasingly targeted the trucking industry. Every trip, somebody has us playing in the background. I can hear myself there. I don't know.
No, it's just a damn truck going by. Go ahead.
Let's see. Every trip a driver takes is a Russian roulette for everything I worked for my entire life. After 50 years in the trucking industry, I am ready to retire and do not wish to wait any longer for things to improve or try to find a buyer for the company. Josh, Kayla, and Joel do not wish to continue in the business due to the challenging 24/7 nature of the business that we operate in and will pursue their own individual careers. I'm guessing he's talking about his children. David says the drivers will be paid and that the operation will wind down in an orderly fashion. So, 160 trucks in operation, 140 drivers pretty much lost their jobs. The company does not even want to sell because, you know, we've all seen time and again where these companies get bought up by these investment firms and pretty much turn them sour, and they lose all their reputation, they lose all their good name and their credit. Because that's something I learned recently, that these investment firms just usually just buy up these companies for their credits, use up their use their credits to get money from the banks, and then they turn around and file for bankruptcy and shut the company down while keeping that money. I thought that was, somewhere in there, that just sounds illegal as hell. but apparently it's a thing, and that's what they're doing. I think Mr. Davis is making a good point here. He doesn't want to sell his company probably because he doesn't want to get his name tarnished. Getting mixed up in something like that. Let's see. Let's see. Although the company has been unprofitable for the past several years, we are not broke, bankrupt, nor do we have any cash flow problems. There are sufficient funds to pay out all employees, vendors, and creditors timely. We will continue to make deliveries through 423. We will return all trucks and trailers to our Stark terminal by 4:30. All employees will continue to be paid timely every Friday and will receive benefits through the 615 pay period. We will continue to employ mechanics and operate the shop for the time being as we take equipment out of service and sell. As we enter the final chapter of Davis Express, I want to thank everyone that has made the company successful over the year. So they're shutting down. They're not broke. They're willing. They're still gonna have their drivers be able to come home, get paid, and be able to go home on without being stranded on the road. So I'll give them an A+ for that. Uh, Gonna see a lot of black and white trucks for sale soon. Might be a good bargain for anybody that's willing to build a fleet. Shimon, what's your thoughts on this?
Um, I mean, I think the owner is very commendable with how he's handling this and how he's doing it. Because you know what, a lot of these companies, the first person they're going to screw over is the driver.
Absolutely.
So the way he's going about doing, I mean, it's sad, but it also shows, true character at the same time, in the process of it happening. So I say props to the owner for how he's handling it. Definitely.
Nice. Trucks for sale. How much you think you might gonna copy another one, man? You've been buying trucks lately, so.
No, I'm done with buying trucks for a while. Y'all keep sending me trucks. A lot of my subscribers email me on a regular basis for trucks for sale. Hey, I got this, and I'm taking a break. I'm gonna finish what I got now before I get anything else.
Nice. James, your opinion on the situation?
I think Davis was. I thought that was very commendable. I'd already heard that about their story, and the reason they didn't, like you said, the reason they didn't want to sell the company the way they did because they didn't want the reputation to be tarnished. And you are right. A lot of these companies, they buy up companies just because of their credit status and able to buy property and equipment and other things, and even more so their accounts. Like I said, Publix is a good account that a lot of guys would really like to have. And they went down honorably, making sure all their drivers are getting home, and I understand that a lot of the drivers are getting. I don't know the time of the link, but they're getting a severance package too.
Nice.
Which means that they'll get 1 or 2 months of pay even though they're not working as a severance package. Just like the owner said that they're not broke, they're not rich by any means, but they're not broke, and they just want to retire and get out of trucking completely. That's what it all boils down to. And honestly, right now is at the age the guy probably is probably the best time for him to duck out and not have to worry about a whole lot.
It is unfortunately, it is unfortunate that the kids don't want to take over and keep the business running, but that's also understandable as well too. So, Shimon, you did say earlier about buying a reefer, man. you looking to buy one because they're gonna have some for sale. Pretty good used reefer, been on the Publix account, so they've been treated good.
If I get one, it's gonna be. I talked. Interstate made me into getting his stainless steel unit. So if I get one, I got to go out the same way. It's got to be a stainless steel unit with the.
I think their units are all stainless steel as well too, if I remember correctly.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think all their units are stainless steel, which is nice. They got them nice trucks. Only thing is, I just hate driving behind them at night because that reflecting right off the door, that's something else, man.
Right.
So let's get back into it. How did you end up with I know you said it made sense for you for YouTube to get the Lone Star, but give us a breakdown on how that turned out for what you did. How did you find the driver that has those trucks or the company that has those trucks leased it on to you?
So there is a pretty good sized fleet over here with Landstar. They commonly call themselves Landstar's largest fleets. They got about
Well, they got
60 to
about
80 trucks.
60 to 80 trucks. Okay.
Yeah, and what they'll do is they'll hire you on as a company driver. If you like the truck that you're driving, they will sell you the truck, almost like an a lease purchase kind of fashion. But it's really like
Mhm.
an owner finance kind of deal, which is worse than a lease purchase because then you're stuck with it. But the whole business model is a scam. Um, the whole business model makes them money and it takes money out of your pocket. There's a bunch of bad stuff in that contract. But me
Like,
not
give
knowing
us
how
an
Landstar
example for
works,
like one of them.
one of them, they charge you $200 a week for a Landstar drive-in.
A what now?
A Landstar drive-in. They charge you $200 a week for it.
You gotta be kidding me, man. We don't pay for drive-in trailers. How are they doing? How are they getting
Exactly.
away with that?
Because they're Landstar's largest fleet. Not only do they have a fleet, but they also have an agency as well.
Ah, okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask you on the back end about all that stuff later. We ain't got to get into it on camera, but I'm gonna ask you about it later on today.
Yeah. So they
Uh,
charge you $200 a week for a Landstar drive-in, but that's only if you're buying a truck from them. If you're a company
that's crazy.
driver, they pay you 30% after fuel. You're 1099. You know how that goes.
Hmm.
And if you're buying a truck from them, they pay you 50% after fuel, but that 20% deficit they put it towards your truck principal.
So,
And
you still getting the 30%,
you're still getting the 30%, but they take out the
right?
20% until it satisfies whatever your truck note is for the month, and then you keep the whole 50% for the remainder of the month. Now, they also had at the time brand new W900. So when you got a $4,000 or $5,000 truck note, you ain't seeing that 20%. It's going to be going straight to your truck principal,
Dang.
and you're still responsible for repairs and all that kind of stuff.
But at least you
And
look
they're taking
nice
out
going down the road though in the W9. You know, for
right,
most people, that's all they care about is looking good. They don't care about about the
right.
money.
Right. And so if you think about it, like a buddy of mine, we were on tour together. He was a company driver. I was an owner op, and we paid the same amount in fuel. We got paid the same amount on the load. I was still making $200 less than him a week because I had the trailer rental to pay because I was buying a truck from him. So
That's
as an owner
crazy.
op, I'm making less than the company drivers, $200 less.
So nobody is complaining about this trailer fee, man. That's crazy, man.
Landstar has gotten a long list of complaints. But like I said, they're
Favoritism.
Landstar's largest fleet, and they're pretty consistent on their agency side too.
Okay, I got you.
So I've
I
talked to
got
Landstar. I know plenty of people that address this to Landstar, and Landstar's response is, "Hey, that's a contract between you and them. That's got nothing to do with us."
They are like that. That's one thing I do like about Landstar. I don't like about them is that they stay out your business. They ain't got nothing to do with them. The only thing they care about is as long as you submit your paperwork on time, you're gonna get your pay. You're gonna get your pay. Anything else after
Right,
that is like we ain't got nothing to do that. You made that deal.
right,
That's on you. You know, a lot
right,
of people.
exactly.
I've had a lot of people ask me. I was like, oh, especially with the SFI trucks or they're leasing trucks from somewhere else. They'll be like, hey, does Landstar take payments out? Landstar don't want no smoke when it comes to that kind of stuff. They want to be
Right,
left as far away as possible because they want you to be a true owner operator, more or
right,
less. We got some
right.
stuff that's brewing right now, but you know, it is what it is. Um,
hmm
so so you had that truck. How long did you have the Lone Star for?
I was with them for 18 long months, and then
Man, how
finally I
much
just
was
got
that
sick.
lease that so called lease that they were giving you?
I was paying 27.40 a month for that truck note. So 2015, I had over 700,000 miles. Well, at the time I got it, had right over 600,000. But it was one of those deals where I tried to give it back. They threatened to sue me or whatever, and it got ugly. And I just said, "Hey, kiss my behind. You can have the truck back. I'm gone."
They
And I was like, "I'll
haven't
see you
said
in court."
anything to you since.
No, they threatened to take me to court, and I said, "Okay, I'll see you there. Send me the address." And never
Mm,
heard back from them. Never heard
so
back from
pretty
them.
much they were just bluffing then.
Oh,
more
for
or
sure. 'Cause
less.
they knew it was scummy, the contracts and everything.
Wasn't enforceable, no nothing like that.
Right, right.
Right.
But
And so,
thankfully, I was kind of a little bit being transparent with it on YouTube, and I had a subscriber reach out about the FLD, and when I first got it, when I saw the condition of it, it was really a publicity stunt. 'Cause I knew I was going to get all kinds of flack in the comment section. You bought that piece of crap, blah blah blah, this, that, and the
mhm.
third. But me getting that truck and the attention that it brought to YouTube, I gained like 1,000 subscribers in like 2 days because people were either saw the vision of me building that truck, or the other 80% watched it to watch me break down and to lose my business. Which I got those
The
comments
haters are
like,
gonna hate, man. They
right? They
gonna
came in the
show up.
comment section. I'm not here to subscribe. I'm just here to watch you go out of business. I'm just here to watch you fail.
They're the
You
biggest
know,
supporters, man. They don't even know it.
exactly. It got my comments got so bad. I had people calling me and texting me like, "Hey, dude, like, you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, why? Have you seen them comments? And
Oh
I was like,
Lord
"Yeah,
have mercy, man.
I see him. I see him." But we ran that truck for about 7 months. I had another subscriber reach out to me, and he was like, "Hey, I got a 2015 ProStar. I think it'll be cool to see it on the channel. Come check it out. Put a driver in and do what you want to do." I said, "All right, cool." He offered me a deal I couldn't refuse on it. Only 15 grand for it. It was
Nice.
already non-California compliant. Had already had new injectors and injector cups and everything in it. So ran that for a few more months. And then the truck that I'm in now, a subscriber reached out to me and said, "Hey, I'm retiring. I've been a day one subscriber. And it'd be really cool to see the classic on your channel." And so I'm retiring. And so when I retire, come get the keys to the truck. It's yours. I'm not looking for anything out of it.
So
I don't want to see
blessings on
anybody else with
top
this
of
truck.
blessings on top of blessings. You just been getting blessed left and right, brother.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
exactly what you've been.
And,
So, and then the channel has been growing significantly, especially since you had the FLD. Uh, what kind of blessings did that bring for you? From just getting the FLD and putting it on YouTube and doing all the stuff and whatnot.
um, like I said, it was really a publicity stunt. So at the time, I didn't see it as a blessing. But my channel was at its peak when I had that FLD. I made the most money on YouTube with that FLD. Even though I had way fewer subscribers, I still made more money then.
Mm-hmm.
But even right now, it's still content because we're restoring it. So we're getting it painted. We're taking it down to Florida's Finest Customs for the interior. One of my sponsors said, "Hey, we see the vision for that truck. We want to help sponsor the interior build on that truck." So all it's done is just brought opportunity and me learning that, which is why I bought the cab over, because it opened up me to a whole nother market, to a whole nother algorithm, to people that like cab overs. And then FSC, Steve and Tim Gentry, they were also encouraging me to do it. And especially Steve. Steve's a really good guy. He's been the one kind of pushing it like, "Hey," he's like, "you got the means to do it. Just get out there, be bold,
Right.
and take that leap of faith." And so even when he came down and got the cab over, he was kind of like, "Look, what's the address? I'm 3 hours away, 3.5 hours away. I'm coming to get it whether you like it or not. And I'm taking it to my shop and we're going to get it where it needs to go." Didn't charge me for it or nothing. Didn't even charge me for it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's pretty great, man. Like you said, you didn't see it as blessings, but time and time again, it seems like more and more and more you're just getting. God is putting something in your lap for you to enjoy, and I really like that. Give us a little rundown about how you got your first sponsorship on YouTube, and how'd that go?
So the first sponsorship, I actually it was Visor Buddy. They had I had reached out to them originally because I was attending a truck show and I wanted a stationary place for me to be so subscribers can come say hi rather than them randomly running into me, at the truck show.
Mm-hmm.
So I contacted a bunch of different companies saying, "Hey, I'm a new YouTuber. I'm just trying to find a stationary place." And they were the first and only ones to say yes. And so I got set up with them. He saw the vision for the channel and started, investing into it. But he was actually the only one I reached out to. Them and him and Beam I reached out to as well, just kind of seeing their story with their lights and everything for the trucks. But everybody else, Mighty Products, 10-4 Truck Insurance, B-Lean Fitness, they all reached out to me. But even with Mighty Products, I thought it was a scam at first. 'Cause I get a bunch of emails from, hey, sponsor this, we want to sponsor that. So when Mighty reached out to me, I knew the company looked familiar, but I thought it was a scam. And when I thought about it, I remember using their straps back when I was doing the Hot Shot stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's that company. And so it took them about 3 or 4 times reaching out to me. After that 3rd or 4th time, I was like, all right, let me see what this is all about. So I emailed them back like, all right, I'm interested.
And they sell
So
like a lot of they sell products for like flatbed and stuff like that.
You know what? The reason they reached out to me is because they have completely rebranded, and now they're doing more than open deck. Now they're doing radiators, alternators, mud flap hangers. They're getting a little bit into the lights and stuff. My hood mirrors I just installed, Mighty Products, compressors, air dryers. Like they're getting heavy into the part space too. And so I told them that I don't do open deck. So how is this? I can't really. The only thing I can do is do the, your E-Track straps. But other than that, I'm not really an asset to the company. And they were like, look, don't mention this yet, but we're really opening up into a whole different market, and that's where we see you fit. And I said, okay, let's go ahead and do it. And so now they're getting really heavy into the parts business too.
Nice. What do we have here?
What about I'll go to comments in a second, but what about the company that made Brittany? Did they get a hold of you? I know Country Kid.
What company is that?
Go ahead and tell them there, D.
Brittany. You're funny, man. That's Country's girlfriend, dude. Leave him alone, man. Why are you over here talking about Country's girlfriend?
Go ahead and tell him what Brittany is.
So apparently, one of my buddies here on YouTube, one of my YouTube buddy Country's in the comments as well too. He got a company reached out to him about having a buddy in the truck at night. So,
no, this is going to say what it is. It's a lovemaking doll is what it is.
Oh man. It was hilarious, man. They try to get him to sponsor it to different trucker. Feeling lonely at night. Lot Lizard's got a little clap that you don't want to get. How about you come and get you a Brittany? $49.99. We ship it to you this week.
This one comes in a different piece of luggage. All right, so let's get.
Have you ever had any type of sponsorships like that, or somebody company reach out to you about something like that?
Not at all. Not at all.
Maybe it was just Country's good looks. That's why they contacted me.
Oh man, I'm telling you, man. Let's hit the comments, bro. Let me see what the comments are.
Newman says, send the JB Hunt questions his way. You're not going to be there long enough to even matter, but I know you want to complain about him. Flying Patty says, evening all.
Good evening, Patty.
Justin says, Prime Habit. Okay.
Well, watch this guy try to back in here. Let's take a look and see what he's.
Ask Shimon if he would give us the Rick James bitch.
I'm Rick James, bitch. What's that all about, man?
It's probably from my live last night. I was mentioning that I was a really big fan of Chappelle's show. That was my show growing up, Chappelle's show.
Justin says Prime Incorporated has loads in Florida. We've already read your comment, Country. Newman says, send the sex doll his way. And Country says, I'm pimping that hoe out right now to the truck next to me.
Oh, man. Got to make you $40, bro. Got to make you $40, man. So, hey, and it's legal. So
while we're watching this truck back into this spot, so I told you there was a truck that was stuck on the scale over here. Well, what happened is he blew a steer tire, and they're replacing the steer tire. I'm at a Pilot, and they have a Love's truck that came to replace the steer tire. And there's 2 trucks waiting in behind to get on the scale, and they don't even realize that he's getting a tire changed. They've been there for like 20 minutes. How stupid can you be?
I don't know, man. People can be pretty stupid. I just want to make sure this guy doesn't hit my stuff because we got.
You got an interesting story, Shimon, I appreciated that, man. I was curious to how you got so big so quick. Me and you started our YouTubes right about the same time, but dude, I'm only about a 15th the size of what your channel is. And
Oh, really?
but yeah, but
Uh,
I don't go on every day like you do either. You know, I just
yeah.
have never done
Also, one thing that I've learned. So I learned to get it outside of just a trucking channel. So which is why. So one thing I do is that my heaviest brand with the channel right now is Landstar. Everybody
Is
wants to
what?
know about Landstar, huh?
Okay, what's your heaviest product?
No, I said Landstar.
Okay,
Everybody wants to. A lot of people want to know about Landstar, Mercer, Bennett, and then right now F2F. And so
right.
I use that Landstar. I'm always Landstar, Landstar, Landstar. So nowadays, when you type in Landstar, I pop up automatically. So I use Landstar, the trucking itself, Freightliner, FLD, cab over, those kind of words to kind of bring traffic. And then also, when I do my revenue updates, it now puts me in the economics um, algorithm of YouTube, me talking about economics and my revenue and stuff. And I learned that because I have a subscriber. She lives in Germany, I believe, either Germany or Scotland. And she watches my channel to kind of see what trucking is like, to see what the American economy is like. And that kind of lets her know kind of like the state of what's going on. Another example, I do my time lapse when I go from point A to point B. I've opened up my channel to an international audience slash the travel algorithm because people who live overseas, they often want to see what America looks like. And so they
Mm-hmm.
watch my channel. They could care less about trucking, but they watch my channel for the time lapse to see what America and the different regions look like. Also, people who have always wanted to be in the truck but can never be, who live in the States, people who are disabled, people who are just not in a situation to travel, they watch my channel because they like the scenery of the time lapse. So I'm catering to different audiences, and I'm getting into different algorithms. And so my channel is very versatile. And then, you know, 90% of my traffic, are truckers. So I try to give them the experience of being in the truck, and then also retired truckers who miss being on the road. I try to give them that experience of being back on the road, as well as people who want to learn what it's being like in a truck, that want to learn what the lifestyle is like before they get in the truck. So I'm trying to cater to different audiences all in one video.
And
And
that's why
so,
his videos are so long, man. Yeah, I know some people are like, man, his videos are an hour long. I can't sit there and watch, but it may not be for you in that
right,
moment, or there's specific clips. It's like you're catering to everybody all at the same time in one video. There's
right,
certain clips that you might be interested in. There's certain clips that that you might not be interested, but there's something in there for
right,
you. So
right.
yeah.
And there's some people that sit in front of their couch and they like watching the time lapse going from A to B. But then I choose the different styles of music that I choose because a lot of drivers, they have me playing in the background while they're driving. And so I
Mm-hmm.
intentionally choose driving style music for the people who just have it playing in the background who are driving and they can't watch the video. So they at least have something to listen to. So I try to choose like good driving music to kind of put you in a good mood of driving. So
Right.
there's a method to my madness. It may seem, oh, these are long videos, or he's long winded, all the time lapse is too long, or he does too much music. Nah, there's a method to my madness. Trust and believe. There's a method to it.
I got you, man. Let's see here. We done with all the comments here? 'Cause I'm gonna go
Comments
ahead
are
and
caught up,
pull up
man.
our next
Go ahead and do the
article
next news
here.
article.
Man, these tariffs are just raising prices on everything nowadays, man. Check this out, y'all. We got to deal with this as well too. Prices, cat scale is up again. 8 months ago, they raised the price, and they're raising it up again now. Let's see. Prices for a weigh and reweigh went up at the cat scale. If your company's paying for it, then I guess that ain't got nothing to do with you. But if you're an owner operator out here and you're trying to run legal, or you're trying to do what some of these guys do, they wait till the scales are closed or run the back roads. This is your only choice here. Last week, cat scale increased the price for weigh and reweigh. The price of a cat scale in the U.S. increased on March 26, 2021, from $12 to $12.50. The cost of the reweigh went $2 to $3. I am reading an old article here. Yeah, let me make sure. Let's see. When was this? I am reading. Am I reading an old article? Yeah, I'm reading an old article. But
$14.75 and $5 for a reweigh.
yeah, $14.75 and $5 for a reweigh is what they're
Just did it
currently
on
doing
Friday.
right now, which is crazy, dude. You know, there we go. Price for a U.S. location is up $14.75 for the first weigh, $5 for a reweigh. Prices in Canada is $25 and $8 Canadian. So yeah, stretch your wallets out, guys. They're out here taking more money from you, and that's just how it rolls out here nowadays, man. I just had to get the load that I'm on right now. It's like what is it, 13, 14, almost 40,000 pounds, give or take. Yeah, and it's pretty heavy, man. Something.
James G says Miss Laura's the real star of grinding gears.
Yes, she
Oh
is.
man, that lady is funny, man. She's something else, man. Last night we were on live, and we were trying. Your live was about trying to pick out the new name for the truck, for the
For
cab.
the cab over. Mhm.
Ever since you bought that cab over, whenever I call you, I've always told you, man, we should just spray paint it purple and just call it Purple Rain. And you're like, no, I'm not gonna call it Purple Rain. I'm not gonna spray paint it. So last night we were on there trying to figure out the name for the truck, right?
4
A
hours.
whole lot of names, man. We were 4 hours trying to figure out a name for it, man. There were all kind of names. All kind of
Did we
names.
come up with a name
What
yet?
did we settled down to four names? Do you remember the four of them?
Yeah, so it was Euphoria, Not Like Us, Counterfeit, or Doghouse.
Doghouse. That's were the four. And then it came down to the two, which was Euphoria and what was the other one again?
Counterfeit.
And Counterfeit.
So
Now
the truck is green. So
Right.
everybody had big green machine, money talks, any kind of money reference or any green reference. So when they said counterfeit, I was like, huh. You know, it made sense because it was a response
tell
to
you, I
all my
like that.
haters.
I
Yeah.
like that counterfeit.
Now for a while, everybody was in agreement that it was going to be Counterfeit. And then something happened in the live. Somebody started talking about Kendrick Lamar and all this stuff, and then everybody was talking about albums. We were talking about Ill Mind of Hobson. We were talking about Kendrick's album, Drake's album.
Yeah, and then
We were talking
somebody
about
said something.
Eminem, a lot of Detroit people, and then somebody said something about Euphoria, and then there was a war in the comment section.
So somebody had made a reference to. There's a rumor going around that I'm a scam artist or something, and somebody said something made reference to that, and I said something. I made a Kendrick reference, and I said, "Wait a minute." I looked at my wife and I said, "Euphoria." No. Somebody. Oh no. I know what it was. Somebody said something about calling the truck in reference to my haters. That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
And then my wife or somebody said something about the Kendrick line. They said, "I hate the way that you walk, the way that you talk." And I said, "That's it, Euphoria." And then we talked about it a little bit longer. And I said, "Wait a minute." I said, No, Not Like Us. And then it was like, oh, so that opened up a whole can of worms.
A whole can
And
of
they
worms in
sat
there. And then I just suggested, I said, man, how about you just let the community just vote on it? Just put a poll up. We ain't got to still sit here and argue about it all day. And then that turned into a shit show in itself, right? Because we started with the 4. And then we settled on Euphoria. And then he just wanted more smoke, right? So then he decided, I'm going to throw another poll up, for the last 2. And we're going to start some shit tonight. So here we go.
Yep.
We got Euphoria, and then we had the other one because it wasn't that important. That's how I don't remember. I had half of my eye was like this. I was like sleeping like this last night. And then every time somebody was commenting, the guys on counterfeit were some big old haters, man. They was some big old haters. Though. They were getting mad. Nobody
So
was voting.
what's the final result, man? What did we go with?
The final result was
Euphoria.
Yeah, it was
And
Euphoria.
you know it's funny because when Just Trucking just got started, you talked to him a little bit ago. I've actually talked to him and met him a couple of times too. But he had his group of haters thought he was fake there for a long time too. And he's been
you
in and
ain't
out of
doing that.
trucking.
You're doing something good when they say you starting to scam, man. So
Well, he's been in it. He's been in and out of trucking too, and did Uber and all that crap for a while. And I get it. We all get pissed off, and if you ain't making the money, then why waste your time? I think he's got money from elsewhere other than just YouTube and trucking and everything else. I think he might come from family money. He doesn't need to do it. He does it for content.
His biggest hater right now, some schizophrenic guy in the Volvo that hides his company name so nobody can find him. He's been on his ass for quite a while now, man. His channel's pretty much some crazy dude, Trucking Unfiltered or whatever. He's been going after Justin for quite a while, and I'm sitting here like, man, I'm so glad I don't have a channel that big. Because imagine he comes after me about some bullshit, man. It ain't gonna turn out how he think it's expected.
I thought you were talking about the Rusty Cracker. He hasn't made a video in a while either.
Oh, Rusty Cracker is one of my really good. You know what? I like watching Rusty's videos. I used to watch him all the time. He rebuilt the Volvo, rebuilt the trailer, and he's been out here doing his thing. And I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen any videos of his lately. So hopefully he'll put out something this year. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, man. But just good on Justin for keeping the peace and not indulging into
He's not that kind of guy.
In the Trucking Unfiltered drama. Because look what's happened to who is it? Tim. He's gotten under the skin of Tim. Tim has a really huge channel compared to Trucking Unfiltered, and he should have went the way of the same way that that Justin did. Stay quiet. He's not that big for you to be responding to, because now you're giving him the time of day. You're giving him the time of play. Now he thinks he's Mr. Big Shot. You lost your battle right there when you fight. Oh, when a lion fights a mouse. Doesn't make any sense to do so. But anyways, man. So yeah, the new cab over name is Euphoria, and he's gonna paint it white, and its sub name is gonna be Booger Sugar, and we're gonna put Peterbilt.
That's one reason I wanted to name it Euphoria. Yeah, that's one reason I wanted to name it Euphoria, just in case. So the plan right now is to keep it green, keep it the original color. But if we decide to paint it, it's not named Counterfeit, which is in reference to the green color.
Right.
So Euphoria, I mean, it could be any color. But
you could paint it white too and still call it Counterfeit. It'd be fake drugs. It'd be fake cocaine. It's just baking powder.
Yeah. See, you were trying to get me in trouble in the chat last night.
Man, we were having a blast last night, man. Your people are freaking hilarious, dude. And your wife she's just there for the ride. She was like just shaking her head the whole time. She was like, she don't even know what stuff, man. It was hilarious, man. Yeah. But
I'd be feeling bad when I hang around her because I'm like the rough one, and she's like this innocent and quiet. I'd be feeling bad.
That's not what I heard, but anyway, them quiet ones they always surprising, brother. But hey, more power to you.
Yeah, and the fact that she's Colombian makes it scary.
Oh man, she be throwing slippers at you.
No, she's got the demeanor.
The demeanor, I got
the demeanor, to where you can read it anywhere, anytime. To where when she's upset, the whole room feels it. And then I need
you need witnesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. So Shamon's a family man. He's married. He's been married for 8-10 years now.
Going on
8 years. Has a beautiful family. He does his thing, man. He takes care. He's a man's man, man. If you guys know about just a little brief thing, his wife teaches his kids. They stay at home, and he makes the bread. I don't know much bigger man than that. That's that's a motivation right there, man. He takes care of his business. So yeah, you gotta watch his channel, Grinding Gears, formerly known as the Lone Star Texas Ranger. Yeah, that's when I started watching you when you had that ugly beast of a truck. Still entertaining, so I was still in there, and it was fun as it was, man. So yeah, so what's your plans with these trucks, man? What are you currently doing with these trucks?
Right now I'm just trying to prioritize what is first. So the FLD, we're just trying to. It's just a content builder at this point, but I do want to get it to where it looks good while going down the road. But it should just be a good, solid backup truck.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cab over is just purely a content truck. But maybe put it into a truck show or two. But it's just a good tool to use for collaborating with other YouTubers and for like sponsorships. Like there's a pretty big sponsor I'm talking to right now, but actually there are two. There are two really big sponsors that I'm talking to right now, but they're all going to be utilizing the cab over as the as the mediator for everything.
Gotcha.
And so that's one reason I bought it, is because one sponsor, there's something they're working on, and they're going to utilize a truck. And I'm like the first one they reached out. I'm the first one that said yes to them. And so I got the cab over, so when they're ready to utilize the truck, they use mine. And it's going to be a
Okay.
huge, huge, huge thing. And so
Gotcha,
what
bro.
better way to get plugged into this with them going national with this idea they have than my truck being the face of it.
Gotcha. So you got a Freightliner Classic, then you got a Freightliner Cab Over, and you have a Freightliner FLD. You have an affinity to Freightliners, man?
My dad drove the FLDs and the classics, so I've always had a heart for the Freightliners and the 12.7s. Which I
Right.
do have a thing for the W900s too, but like even people tell me all the time, you should change the ugly steering wheel. For me, it's a nostalgia from growing up. Even the
Right.
annoying the annoying buzzer.
Uh-huh.
That's a nostalgia for me in my childhood of riding with my dad and stuff. It just brings
Right.
back memories, childhood memories for me. So
And
I'll always have a heart for that.
now your dad had a classic or a FLD?
Both. So he started off with I think one or two FLDs,
Uh-huh.
and then he ended up getting rid of that and getting a classic later on.
Got you. And at the time you
Mm.
were not in I, I remember you telling a story about your dad passing. You were not interested in trucking during that time, and
I've Yeah, I've
he had
always
a
had a
truck.
love for it. I've always
Mm-hmm.
had a love for it, and I always noticed trucks. Always had a knowledge of them. Always had a soft place for them, but never thought I'd get into it.
Not right.
Never. My wife was one of the ones that, like, hey, like it's a love that you have that you don't know that you have. You should look into getting into it. And it
Right.
all happened around the same time as COVID, and we were at our wits' end. I just got us a new house. We just rented this new house, and I went out and bought her a Lexus, brand new furniture, brand new appliances, and then the week after, stay-at-home order. Then like
Oh,
a couple of weeks
I
after
got
that, everybody, like 70% of our clientele dropped out of our music lessons. 50
you.
city
Mm-hmm.
tour canceled, DJ gigs canceled. And so we came to our wits' end, and I was like, the only thing that's going to be lucrative during this time is trucking, which just so
Right.
happens to be my first love. And we got into it and went in head first. It was a sacrifice on my end, and definitely a sacrifice on my wife's end with her, being at home and taking care of the kids at homeschooling and me being gone.
Right.
It was definitely a sacrifice, but it's something that's finally paying off.
So, and that was right around the time that your dad had passed as well too.
Yeah, so my dad had passed in 2018. A month before, we found out she was pregnant with our firstborn.
Oh, okay.
So he passed that January. We found out that February or early March is when we found out she was pregnant. So he had just missed it. And
Mm-hmm.
so, but at the time, I was still heavy in music. And we even moved to Atlanta at the time to pursue it, full time. But when we found out he was sick, we had moved back to the Houston area to kind of help my mom, me being the oldest of seven, to help my mom out because he got admitted into hospice care and all that kind of stuff. And then finding out she was pregnant, so that was definitely a turn of events. But the last month of her pregnancy, I told her, you're never gonna have to work a day in your life if you don't want to. And so she was also teaching music as well. And so she quit, and I was out there hustling, Uber, DoorDash, music lessons, music gigs, touring, mechanic work, anything I can get my hands in, to make a side dollar.
Right.
What do you call them? What do you call it? Like the pink slips in the mail, ATM with overdrafts, eviction notices. How do we pay for baby formula? How do we get diapers? We went through all of it. Lights off, me having to go out there. How much is the light bill this month? If the lights are being cut off. Oh, to get the lights cut back on, we got to pay $182. I would go out there and leave the house, make $182 at Uber, send the money to her. She paid the light bill, to get the lights cut back on. We went through that, starting from the ground
Buddy, your story is almost identical to mine between, like 2017 and, till now, basically, because we lived in Kansas for a short time, and, the job market during COVID and all that was bad. And same thing, man. How much is the light bill? Okay, well, I'll go out and make it do an Uber, and that's pretty much what I did.
Yep.
My daughter is 13. She's never stepped foot in a government school. My wife is pretty much homeschooled her the whole time, and the longer you can keep them out of those schools, the better off they'll be. And honestly, my daughter is smarter than most kids her age, too, because of that. Me and Dee was talking about this earlier today. And, the old bullshit saying, well, they won't have any social life. That's bullshit. That's what the media and what the common people in the world want you to believe, is that they're not going to have social skills. It's total horseshit, buddy. Absolute total horseshit.
My kids are in jiu-jitsu, horseback riding, YMCA. We're about to get my sons into like baseball and stuff like that. They have library days, homeschool days at the museums. They are very active, and my wife keeps up with all of it.
That's kind of what my wife does too. She's the real, your wife is the real trooper out of all this. They're the one doing the hard work.
Absolutely.
We're doing the easy stuff. We're the one doing
and
the
our oldest son is 6, and our youngest is 1. 4 kids. She's got 4 kids, 6 and under, and she battles it, every single day. So definitely, kudos to her. But like I said, she's the real trooper out of all this, because I think it's a sacrifice for me, but it's twice a sacrifice for her, doing this.
My wife hasn't worked in 13 years, ever since my daughter was born.
Yep.
And it'll always be that way, because it's easier. You do the math on everything. It just makes more sense for her to stay at home than it does for her to go out and get, a regular job. It really does.
Even from the standpoint, and this is going to cause some controversy, but all the stuff they're injecting into our kids, we don't want that for them either.
Exactly.
And
100%, buddy.
Yeah.
Funny thing about that, shoot, I've tried. I guess I'm just a horrible person. I'm just horrible at explaining this, because I've tried to explain this many times to my SOs and to my ex when I have with the 3 kids. I try to explain that to her. It ain't come through her head. So I just gave up just even telling anybody else anything. I was like, hey, it is what it is. You want to do what you want to do, do what you want to do. I'm just going to.
One thing that we've learned is shut up and lead by example. Because when we first started the whole homeschool deal and her staying at home, we got a bunch of crap from family, friends, her family on the whole feminist bandwagon. How dare you depend on a man, to take care of you, this, that. We got a bunch of crap from our closest relatives to our closest friends. Them saying, hey, you're you're pee-whipped. Your wife got you in the palm of her hand. She ain't got a word, this, that, and the third. Like, no. I told my wife, when I told her I was going to marry her, I told her also, and I told her dad, I'm going to take care of her. So,
and the funny story about that is, what you're talking about is absolutely true. We had the same issues and the same problems. But the funny thing is, here we are, 13, 15 years later. Guess what? The couples that were talking about us, they're not even married any longer. They're divorced.
You know what? A lot of her friends and some of her relatives, they are now having issues with their husbands, because they're like, wait a minute. She gets to stay in the house that she got to just basically design. She drives around in the Benz, and she just sits around and bakes cakes all day. She gets to do whatever she want to do. She ain't got to work. And one thing my dad always told me, if your woman ain't working, she ain't going to age as fast. Because she don't have all the stress of being out
But
there
you know,
dealing with
a lot
bosses
of
and
these
coworkers.
women nowadays, they want to be Miss Independent because it's something, and for the most part, if you want to be an independent woman, that's all fine and dandy. But being an independent woman and a family woman is two different things. You can't have.
Right. Right.
For me, I think like you just can't have both. When you're starting to grow a family, you're at a point where
It's
now we gotta
competition.
work. Yeah, we gotta worry about building this family up and not each other as an individual anymore.
Right.
But you start bringing kids into the situation. It's no longer
Right.
about you or them. It's about
Yep.
it's about the kids. But a lot of people
Yep.
nowadays they have a very hard time in
Yep.
understanding that and understand how great of a benefit it is when you're able to when you have the father in the house taking care of the house and the mom is at home. you know
Yep.
um a
And
lot
when
of
we go
people
back
don't
to
yeah a lot of people don't see a lot of people don't see the
right.
benefit in that, but look at the
Right.
benefit that your wife has. Y'all basically live in a mansion. Big yard, y'all got the whole night, man. Shoot, if you wanted to you could put a third floor in your house as big as that house is, man. And I've only seen it on the videos, man. She drive what
Yeah.
kind of car she drives now? She
Well,
drives a Benz,
we're
you
about to
know.
sell her Benz because we're trying to get from under because that's also a lot of hate that we get trying to live
Uh-huh.
a debt-free lifestyle. So we're
Right.
going through and we're getting rid of stuff and paying like anything that with a loan, we're either paying it off or selling it and getting rid of it. So we're
Right.
trying to get down to where the only debt that we have is the mortgage. We're really big on the whole Dave Ramsey program, and it makes sense when we go out and buy these cars, we are in debt to a depreciating asset.
Right.
Now, when you talk to people, they want to tell you how millionaires think and what millionaires do to get their fortunes. But one thing that we don't do is actually talk to a millionaire. We talk to broke people who tell us what millionaires do rather than going and talking to an actual millionaire. And when you talk to
Right.
millionaires, they don't have car notes. They don't have bank loans and payday loans and finance their phones through Verizon and all that kind of stuff. They don't do that. And it's not like they're millionaires so they can afford it. No. The reason they got their fortune is because they're not giving a bank all their money to a depreciating asset.
Mm-hmm.
Like a car. You go out and buy a brand new car, the moment it leaves the lot, depreciates 30%. A millionaire is going to go buy a car for somebody, a dummy that took that depreciation, that hit already.
Right.
Yep.
That's what
Now,
they're going
do
to
you
go
think
do.
that the lifestyle that you have now and the one that you've afforded for your family, do you think it would have been easier or would have been harder for you to achieve if your wife was working?
It would have been more difficult had she been working because one, the half of it that people don't talk about to why we do this and why it's successful for us is because we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we know how things work. I'm not going to just single out women. When people get in your ear, it's a lot more difficult to stay on the same page with stuff. Girl, you should do that. Girl, why you let him do this? My husband, I would never let my husband do this. So when you have multiple people in their ear, it makes it more difficult for you to do your job because now you're competing against these other people who are giving them advice on something they wouldn't even do.
Right.
You want to say, girl, I would leave him if I were you. Meanwhile, you go back home to your cheating husband. We want to listen to they want to listen to the Oprahs, which Oprah ain't got no man, but you take a man advice from her. You want to listen to your Steve Harveys, who's
What you
been
mean? She
married
got
3 times.
Stedman?
Huh?
She got her little boyfriend Stedman.
He don't respect her. Come on now.
She's lesbian, dude. That's just a showpiece. You know that,
man,
right?
y'all out here throwing
She's
out
a
controversy,
fucking lesbian,
man.
brother.
But her and Gil been at it since the 90s, man.
That's
Yeah,
true,
come on
man.
now. Even
If you don't know that by
Steve
now,
Harvey. Yeah, like the Steve Harvey talk. Steve Harvey's out here giving women advice. The man's been married 3 times. Yep. Even the movie he made, that Think Like a Man movie, that was an insult towards men because it made men seem vulnerable and weak.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other one, Beyonce, be a single woman, be independent, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, you follow Jay-Z behind by a coattail. But meanwhile, you
Yep.
telling everybody else to do the exact opposite. Like, but
Do what
but
I say, not
my
what I
wife and I
do.
exactly. And my wife and I, we are very intentional about making sure that we're on the same page. We're not perfect at it. We're trying to get to the next level of it,
Right.
but it's something, it's communication, and it's making sure, that we're on the same page. Because when we're on the same page, and we're doing this now, we're having to redo our circle, like as we speak. Like when I go back in the house, that's one of the conversations we're about to have, is remanaging or revising our circle, our inner circle, because not
Mhm.
everybody in our circle, like life with Anthony, what's his name? What's that black guy that came off of Dave Ramsey? Anthony
Anthony Acho,
O'Neill. Anthony
O'Neal.
O'Neill, I think his name is. He's real big
Yeah, yeah, I
about
know
who's
who
at
you're
your
talking
table.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, he's real big about Anthony O'Neill. Who is sitting at your table? You're the head at your table. Who do you have sitting in? Like, think about a dinner table or a business meeting. You
Right.
orchestrate who sits there at that table, and where they sit at that table matters. If I'm sitting at the head of my table and the two people who are sitting right next to me, those are usually my closest assets.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine my life, my family and my business separately, but two different tables. I'm at the head of both. How do I manage my tables? And it makes sense. I'm in control. We were having a marriage counselor kind of deal, or accountability phone call with an older couple than us who's been married for a while. And one of the things he said was that you're the provider, the spiritual uh, head of your house. So if the lights get cut off, that's on you. If your wife steps out on you, that's on you. You're the spiritual head no matter what happens. Even with, I always go back to Adam and Eve. God didn't go to Eve and say, "Hey, who ate from that fruit, from that tree?" He went to Adam.
Sure did.
He didn't go to Eve. He didn't even talk to Eve. He talked to Adam. Satan, he knew to go to Eve to get through Adam. It shows you the whole foundation of how our house is supposed to be built. And if our house is attacked, how it's going to be attacked.
See,
The serpent knew.
He didn't go to like that is a reason why I like being like I like talking to you, brother, man. I'm telling you, man. With a mindset like, because it brings you a different perspective instead of hanging around with people that just talk all day about nothing.
Exactly.
You actually bring you actually when we do talk on the phone, we talk about stuff like this, and you give me examples of how this stuff will work. It makes sense, and hopefully, I'll try to apply it in my life somewhat, but I'm still a working tree, I guess. So
we need to get you a woman.
I have a woman.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. Got to deal with what he's got first.
Hey, now, what's the comment say, man? That's what you need to do. That's what you need to deal with is the comment section.
Of course, the price of stuff going up because of tariffs. You can't think big business is going to get their bit, and Country says tariffs have nothing to do with their scale increases. You're right, Country. I agree with you. Justin said he did in last night. Not sure what that means, but Fran Mariah
last night with Brittany. I don't know.
Maybe so. Fran Mariah said, "Hello, everyone. Wow, you have a great guest on here tonight. I listen to him all the time while I drive."
Yes, Fran. Good evening, Fran. Welcome back. Welcome back, Fran. And
that was your arch enemy last week.
Ain't my arch enemy. I mean, she put me up. I mean, Fran. Hey, Fran be having me do homework, man. So it's like I appreciate it. It is what it is. It's all good. It's all gravy. I guess she just making sure I don't talk out the side of my mouth, and I appreciate that. So.
Yeah. Trucking with Nisha says you guys are amazing. She's also at Landstar grinding gears.
What's up?
Well, welcome,
Landstar driver in the house.
Yeah, we have quite a few Landstar drivers on the show every Sunday, so it got to speak for something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm the only one that's not at Landstar right now. So
where's
two guys
Lance at? Lance in the comments tonight?
Not on the comments. Fran Mariah, Brian does very well for himself and his family. I've seen that house. It's badass.
That house is nice, man. I'm waiting for my invite eventually. One of these years, I'm gonna go over there and have dinner with him, man.
Whenever you pass through.
I'll tell you this, right? I might be a little bit. I might be older than you. I think I'm older than you. But for what I see you do, I can look up to you and say, you know, those are some of the things that you I said. So, uh, those are things that I achieve for my that I would like to achieve for myself. Whether it's in business or whether it's with family, and I'm pretty sure you know everything's not roses at in your home, but the way you present, the way that you and your wife present yourselves as in a united front, I'm pretty sure y'all be getting into it with each other, but on camera, ain't nobody gonna find out. And you know
Right, and
that
that's
and
that's
and that
one thing that we
speaks
don't do.
volumes right there.
Yeah, because we don't believe in being fake or or hypocritical or anything. So a lot of times, I'm saying not a lot of times, if we're not getting along, I'm not going to put her on camera so we can sit there and act fake. Whoop de doo.
Hmm.
If we're not getting along or we had a fight or something happened, like I'm not going to put you on camera. She's not going to put me on camera with her channel. It's just it is what it is. I'm not going
Hmm.
to sit there and she's not going to sit there and smile and act. Like I love you. This is my husband. When I just pissed you off 10 minutes before the camera came on. You know, it's just not going to happen.
Right, right.
It's a respect thing that we have back and forth towards each other.
So Flying Patty says constructive criticism benefits everyone,
Absolutely.
and I agree with
Absolutely.
you. I agree with you, grinding gears. My wife and me, man, we're the same way, man. We don't have anything fake about us, especially her, man. She couldn't lie about anything if she had to, if it was meaning that it was life or death. She'll tell you exactly how she feels about you or
Hmm.
anything. And that's
Hmm.
that's the only way to be, man.
Yeah. And like the biggest issue my wife and I have, I'm being transparent, is that apparently, because my family's from St. Louis and Detroit, and often when we speak, we talk at you and not to you.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so sometimes whether I'm upset with my wife or whether we're just talking in general, I can say I love you, and because I'm being too aggressive or too direct, it can come off as offensive because I'm too direct. My
I
wife
got
is
you. I
super,
know
super,
exactly what
super,
you mean too.
super
Yeah.
sensitive. Yeah, my wife is super sensitive, so sometimes she perceives things, the wrong way, and so it's a thing to we have to work on it on both ends. She has to stop being so, emotional about it sometimes, but meanwhile, I have to kind of soften my tone sometimes.
Hmm.
But that's like the biggest thing is you're talking at me and not to me. It's like, well, you could have said that a different way. Like I'm very direct when I'm talking to you. There's been times I've talked to you. You be trying to tell me something. I'm like, hey, hey, put that, hey, stop with the BS. This is what really happened. This
Hmm.
is what you're really thinking. Like, move around. Come on now. But I can talk to you like that because we're men. With her, sometimes I can't do that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You
You know,
know?
you can't do that with women, bro.
Yeah.
Pretty much with women, you can't do that because the language is different. How
Yes.
men speak to men and how men speak to women are two
Yes.
different languages, you know?
And then to
So,
top it off, truckers talking to truckers. That's a whole nother level of.
oh, that, oh, yeah. Oh, the backroom chat gets wild with truckers, man. That's one thing. That's one thing for sure. So let's get back into let's get back to talking about trucking. All right, let's get back to that. Um, we have some more comments here.
Yeah, friend Martin says she's agreeing with Flying Patty, and Rand says thanks for making long videos. Those are the ones I listen to while I drive, so I don't have to be messing with the phone. Okay. And Patty says when my wife and I are having a tiff, I get picture but no sound until we wake up, until they make up. That's funny. That's funny.
Oh man. So
Yeah.
you ever thought about getting your own authority or leaving Landstar?
Yes. So I've had multiple opportunities to either lease on elsewhere or to get my own numbers. And it's something I am still juggling. I do have an opportunity with a pretty big client to where if I did get my own numbers, it would keep me busy for the next 5 to 10 years
Mm-hmm.
with my own client. But if we negotiate the right rates and everything and the right uh, template, I am going to do it. But I'm just kind of waiting to see right now. Like right now, Landstar is just way too easy. It's way too convenient. and
Mm-hmm.
it's getting me where I want to go currently. And it's a deal to where it's a really big contract, and I don't want to bring it to Landstar because you know the whole
Somebody
cut they
gonna
take
take it.
out, and
Yep.
yeah, and then somebody else taking it exactly, and then I'll be making a lot. Even though Landstar will handle the legalities behind it, it's something I can do myself.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, you know, it's about stepping out in faith at the same time. Like you said, I have multiple trucks. I need to utilize them. So
Right. You need to put some drivers in them things once they're back on the road, man.
I can't do. I've thought about it. I just cannot do it. Like the FLD is my baby, my first actual cash truck. The title is in my name, so I have a special place in my heart for that truck. This
Mm-hmm.
truck was a gift to me, so I really can't put a driver in it. And then with the cab over, that's my first cab over. Like
So you
you know,
just gonna be just you driving them. Well, you got a teammate at home when the kids get a little bit older, man. Somebody's in the FLD, somebody
yes.
in the classic.
Exactly, and hopefully
Yeah.
my boys, my daughter too. We are going to be doing some content with me teaching my wife how to drive the trucks, but they're just for content purposes,
Uh-huh.
content, networking, collaborations. Opportunities. That's really what they're for. But if I do get my own numbers, I am going to be, every week driving a different truck just to kind of keep the channel fresh.
Right. Man, you get your own numbers, man. You might have to holler at me. We might see we can come on. We might be able to collab and do some stuff together,
We'll call
I'm
our
always
company Starland.
Starland. I've always thought about if I ever opened up my own authority, I would
Call it
actually
Brittany.
No, I would like to keep it separate from my LLC, so I'll probably create another LLC for my authority. But I would probably name it the Black Star.
There you
If
go.
there's history behind it, back in the day, um, African Americans had their own shipping company called the Black Star Line. And
Gotcha.
so there's a little bit of history behind that. They used to ship goods from the Caribbean to the United States, and me being a West Indian as well, that name would be really good befitting if I ever started an authority. I would call it the Black Star
Gotcha.
without the line, just in case there's like trademark stuff going on with that whole situation.
Right.
But
That would be
it would
dope.
be pretty nice, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. I got one more article for the evening. We are almost 3/4 of the way done here. We're at almost an hour and a
Let
half
me read
out of
these
our
2
2
comments while you're getting
hours.
it up. Let me
Yep,
get these
go
2
ahead, do your
comments.
thing.
Gentry and Son Trucking is what Justin said. And Brand says, I wonder how much you make bringing people to Landstar with the percentage they take. What do
Well,
Blue Ribbon
that's a good
make with
question.
those $10,000 trucks?
That's a good question. I don't know what people keep telling me, but I don't know. Do you know, Shimon, for a fact what kind of recruitment bonuses do we get if we do get any?
So with drivers, I've never seen a dime, but with drivers, they pay $100 per driver if you bring a driver on a Landstar, if they bring a truck over.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in reference to like bringing a contract to Landstar, that you have to find an agent who is willing to take on a contract. Me as a driver, as a BCO, I cannot bring a customer to Landstar. Only agents can do that. So I got to find an agent that I know and I trust to bring that customer onto Landstar. And I guess it's whatever you work out with that agent as far as commission or whatever.
Yeah,
But
because again, Landstar keeps themselves out of
right. And then I know
your business.
Landstar, at the end of the day, they're taking the 35% of the line haul.
Right.
And then as a driver, I get paid off of that. But I don't think we get commission off of bringing customers to Landstar because it's basically I'm not doing it. The agent is the one bringing it through. So I don't even know what that looks like behind the scenes.
Right. And you with the Landstar system, I know that even drivers can become agents. Agents can become
correct.
drivers as well too. It's its own little. I've always said that Landstar is like the condensed version of the open market.
Yes, correct.
Mhm.
Yes, correct.
Do we have any more
Yeah,
comments there
Landstar is
before I pull this up?
the next best thing to getting
Nope,
your own
that's it.
numbers.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see here. Share screen.
Go ahead, Brittany.
Go ahead, Brittany. You're funny. I don't know what Brittany. Let's see. Is deleting a diesel legal in 2025? Let's see what the experts have to say about this. It's a YouTube video. See, confusion continues to swirl in the diesel truck community regarding the legality of deleting emissions equipment in 2025. Sparked by a political shift in online rumors, many truck owners wonder if the rules relaxed, allowing the removal of components like DPF and EGR systems. I know earlier today when I was having a conversation with you, James, this is something that we were talking about. So that got me interested in looking up this article here, and let's see what they really have to say about the whole situation. And I did watch this video a couple days ago with this guy talking to another guy about this whole situation. So PowerStroke channel recently investigated and recently interviewed 3 people from the diesel performance industry who provided much needed clarity. Is deleting a diesel now legal? Charlie Fish of KC Turbos, owner of the performance turbo manufacturer KC Turbos, tackled the legality question head on. He stated firmly that despite widespread misconception fueled by online videos, there is no law that I know of that has actually changed anything regarding diesels that would make diesel deletes legal. While acknowledging rumors of potential future changes, he stressed nothing currently permits the wholesale removal of emissions gear. Charlie also shed light on why many owners seek delete, pointing less towards outright performance goals and more towards issues with aging trucks. As you know, as time goes on, the older that your truck gets, the more miles that you put on it, these emission system are usually the first things to go. Pretty much every diesel engine is pretty much stout. It is very reliable, but as soon as you throw an emissions component on it, then you're starting to have issues with them. Um, Once they get old, they no longer reliable. He explained, adding many owners delete out of frustration, being tired of being broken down on the side of the road. He noted that achieving good performance with emissions equipment intact is possible, but finding tuners focusing on quality emissions on tunes remains a challenge. Jake from Fast Fuel Systems, founder of the Fast Fuel Systems, debunked the recent buzz around 31 deregulatory acts from the EPA. He clarified that these were primarily announcements that the EPA would review certain regulations, not actual changes to the law. Nothing has changed, no new laws. Clean Air Act, the same Hopkins confirmed referencing Section 203, which prohibits tampering. While federal enforcement rarely targets individual truck owners, Hopkins warned that the business selling deleted products face inconsistent but potentially severe penalties, including prison time. Addressing legal solutions after mentioned fast owned products carry CARB approval. I know for the last couple of years, there's a lot of performance and diesel shops that have been shutting down left and right because they've been selling them emission defeat devices or doing deletes on trucks, and the EPA is not shy about finding you into the millions, which pretty much bankrupt a lot of these diesel shops. And a lot of them has fallen to the wayside. A couple of them actually ended up in prison for the whole situation. So he also described their separate EGR filter kit as a way for owners in strict areas to eliminate the EGR problem without eliminating the EGR by filtering soot before recirculation, thereby improving component life for those who cannot legally delete. Matt of Gearhead Tuning and Diesel Tuner himself provided perspective on emissions tuning and enforcement history. He attributed the major crackdown in recent years partly to increased public awareness and the massive Volkswagen Dieselgate scandal that raised regulatory suspicions on ECU tampering. If any of you guys remember, a couple of years ago, Volkswagen was caught cheating on the emissions. The When the car or the vehicle was put on a dyno test for emissions in testing, the car would detect that it was in testing mode and would offer a different profile than what it would actually be using on the road. And when they found that out, because I guess it happened at some university snitched on them or whatever, they ended up paying like billions of dollars in fines for that whole situation there. Matt explains the complexities of tuning within emissions constraints and managing NOx and SIT while working with systems like EGR. Looking forward, he proposed a potential legal path via the right to repair or the tear down system. Um, this concept might allow owners of older, out of warranty trucks to pay a fee and legally modify their vehicles to meet an older emission standard, provided it doesn't smoke. While acknowledging the potential for abuse, he felt it addressed the real world problems of unaffordable repairs in aging work trucks. Regarding the future, Matt expressed a strong belief that the internal combustion isn't disappearing anytime soon, stating, "I don't think anytime soon that the internal combustion engine is going away." Now, I came up with my own solution to this whole problem that we're having with these emission trucks, is that I think that after a certain amount of miles and after the emission system has already been used for its useful life, which is around 400,000 or 500,000 miles, why don't I'm okay with just paying a yearly fee, something just like the HUT tax. Is it HUT, the heavy highway use? We pay like $500 a year for that. I wouldn't mind paying another $500 a year to delete my truck, and that, because they're gonna put that money back into the EPA for emissions and all this stuff to keep the environment clean. I would propose doing something like that where I could still legally run, and then California wouldn't have nothing to say about me pulling my truck into their state because I already paid the fees, the dues, and have something
Well,
about that. So, James, what do you think? What's your opinion on that?
well, I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to read the comment that Fran made too here in a second. But number one, the EPA is just like all the other three-letter agencies that our government has. They're only out for themselves to make money. Even Shimon's shaking his head. It's all bullshit. Years ago, and you were a young man when this started. I'm going back to about 2004, 2005, 6 maybe. When they started putting all this emission shit on trucks, they didn't put them on cars.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 07? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, they put them on trucks, and they attacked the owner-operators. And what it did, the first 3 or 4 years with the products they put on the trucks were garbage. They were breaking down constantly, and they never really got it right until about 2015, 2016. But still, trucks, I mean, people don't understand, a diesel motor burns cleaner than any other combustible engine that's out there. They burn cleaner than what cars do. And Fran made a comment. I wonder why. Let's see here. No, I don't know why you would want to delete the DEF. The next one down. I don't know why you would want to delete the DEF. They got signs all over the East Coast about idling, and the kinds of trucks do not have clean idle. Well, guess what? Diesels burn very clean. Now, it may not smell like they're clean, but they don't produce a lot of carbon out into the air.
It evaporates.
That's exactly right. Gasoline motor is the killer. Let me finish. The gasoline motor is the killer of the emissions. It has nothing to do with the diesel. And the reason they did the diesel, if you really think about all the vehicles on the road, there are millions upon millions of trucks on the road. Yes, they do produce more emissions, but it's nothing compared to what a car does. Go ahead, D.
Right. I just want to piggyback on. She says she don't know why anybody would want to delete the DEF system. For one, the cost to replace the filters from OEM, it's upwards of $30,000 for one. So it's very cost prohibitive for a single truck owner operator who wants to keep their truck. Who wants
That's a whole new truck.
Right, pretty much. It's a down payment for a whole new truck. Second, the emission system has a slight negative effect on the engine itself. Like I said, most of these engines have no problem running all day long, 24/7, 365. But as soon as you put an emission system on
You're suffocating it.
You're pretty much suffocating the engine.
Recirculating the air.
Right. I would be more concerned about the grass burner mufflers that they have been implementing on trucks nowadays, more than having the ones that vent to atmosphere, because those grass burners, while you're idling, you got 5, 6, 7, maybe 100 trucks at the truck stop where I'm at currently right now. We're all idling. Guess where all those emission gases and all that stuff is? It's right here low to the ground, right next to our lungs. I would not be surprised in the next 20 or 30 years that there's studies going to come out saying that truck drivers have a really bad health, and a lot of us have cancer because we don't vent to atmosphere. We don't have tailpipes going up to the truck so we can vent these gases to atmosphere. Remember, warm air rises, cold air sinks. It's nothing but warm air that's coming up. We have the grass burner under the truck, and don't think that these trucks are hermetically sealed. Okay, all that is still going right through the truck and everything else as you are idling. The DEF system is just one less headache to deal with, and you got to look at it from a single truck owner operator aspect, and not just as a fleet owner or as a mega carrier. They might be able to flip that bill. But for somebody who's just trying to keep food on the table for their children, that thing is very cost prohibitive, Well,
the whole DEF California bullshit was a joke to begin with when they started it. All the carb shit, all that stuff is garbage. That's why they're talking about doing away with it, because this administration realizes that it was a joke. Even Fran just said, by the way, Tim says, hi, Shimon. Fran says, that makes sense, Fly Rabbit. They didn't put it on cars, what makes it like a scam. Well, it's always been a scam. And they do have it on cars, but they just really enforced it and really went hard on trucks back in 2007. And Duran gives a good definition. DEF makes diesel fuel burn more fast, which makes it have bad fuel mileage. Yeah, and it does suffer fuel mileage.
And then you got to think about it. So, because then you put these emissions in the trucks. When they break down and you're buying the parts to fix it, you're paying taxes on it. When you pay a mechanic to fix it, you're paying taxes on it. When you buy DEF, you're paying taxes on it.
It's just another way for the government to tax us the hell out of taxes.
Even if you get it deleted, you're paying taxes on it. So not only but it's also putting money in the mechanics' pockets, which a lot of these big corporations, like these big trucking companies, big trucking manufacturers, they're in bed with the government already.
Absolutely.
The ATA is not your friend.
It's just like big pharma. They want us sick all the time too. That could be another topic we could go into. Big pharma, they don't make money if we're not sick. If they're not selling prescription drugs and you're going to the hospital, they're not making money.
And then now to be a mechanic, to learn all this stuff, you've got to go through an accredited school. You can't be a self-taught mechanic anymore, like on these old mechanical trucks. Now you have to go through a school, but you got to pay money for that too. You got to go through a school to learn these DEF systems and all this stuff on these trucks. So there's money everywhere, whether you're on the mechanic side of it, the trucking side of it, the dealership side of it. There's money everywhere, and the only one that's hurting is the one that's actually driving the truck to make a living for his family, actually making America move.
Right. Fran Mariah, right? Let me read this. Let me read this real quick. It says, you can't use a single owner operator as an excuse for everything. We get into this business knowing the cost. At least I hope we do. It's a write-off, no biggie. For one, right, I can use it as an excuse for everything because I am a single truck owner operator. I don't own a fleet and I don't have I'm not a mega carrier. what do you think these mega carriers are complaining about? They complain about stuff that are in their interest and for their best interest. Why am I not allowed to argue about the stuff that are for my interest and for my best interest? So yeah, I can use that excuse every single time that we talk about something like this because that's the category that I fit in. You know, that's the
Yeah, and
category that
then you're
Shimon fits in. That's the same category that James fits. Anybody that's an owner operator, that's the single truck owner operator. That's the category that they fit in. And to a certain extent, that's what our channel is mainly about. You know, owner operators. You know, we're
yeah,
talking
then
to the people that do the same thing that we do. I'm sorry for cutting you off, but go ahead.
okay. Now I was saying to piggyback off the write-off comment. People always want to mention tax write-off, like you're writing off 100% of what you're spending.
Right. You got to come up with that
Like,
money somehow the first time.
right. So you got to. So let's say you have a $10,000 repair and you don't have it. What good is a tax write-off? And even when the tax write-off does come to play, you're not writing off the whole $10,000. You're only writing off a fraction of it. So if a tax write-off only, if you spend a $10,000, but they're only writing off 1,000 of it, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You know, it's not like they're saying, "Oh, you spent $10,000. We're gonna, you know, use that whole 10,000 as a write-off." No, it's a percentage.
So I'm going to put a shout out here. I usually don't shout out YouTube channels and stuff, but when we did our video on Monday, D, we got more views on that after the show than probably any other video we've ever had. But if you got 20, 30 minutes of your time, I don't really watch this guy a whole lot anymore, but I did in the past. It's called Driveline. He's a Prime driver, and this is for you too, Shimon. Watch him. He did a video 4 days ago called Brutal. I challenge you guys, listen and watch that video because he describes everything that we're talking about right now. The truck driver is the one that always gets beat down. It's never the big company. It's never the shipper. It's never the receiver. It's always the guy in the middle. And unfortunately, us being the truck driver, we're the guy in the middle. Challenge you guys, take a few minutes, listen to his video because it makes a lot of sense. And your girlfriend made another comment. That kind of thinking will keep you in a single truck owner op. That's all I'm saying. Mindset. We just see things through a different lens. Yeah, I guess so. Me personally, I have no desire to build a trucking company. It's always been just about me. I don't know what, other people's aspects are here.
If I ever decide to have more trucks, I'm not leaving that, that out of the scope of anything. Because anything and everything is possible. Currently, right now, I'm just a single truck owner operator. So yes, I'm gonna think for the best interest of a single truck owner operator because that's where I am. I'm not sitting here saying that I might not own some trucks later on down the road, and I might be, hey, for all I know, 10 years from now, I'm a mega carrier. My mindset might change because now I'm in for the benefit of a mega carrier. But for me right now, the thing is, I'm a single truck owner operator, and I'm looking out for my best interest. To say one thing the mega carriers have taught me, right, is that I need to look out for the best interest of me, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. That's exactly what I'm doing here. So no shade, no nothing like that.
Oh, wow,
it's not. I'm not having a single. Trust me, I do not have a single track mind when it comes to this stuff. Is where I am right now in life when it comes to my career. You never know. Maybe I might have something in the background cooking. You don't know that.
Read Justin's comment and tell me what that means.
James, is you on what?
I don't know. What's that mean, Justin?
I don't know. Is you on what? You on some shit tonight?
I don't know, man. No, I'm not on anything.
You had? No. I don't know. You been taking some. I don't know what he means.
I got to be driving here in a couple hours, but no, I shouldn't be on anything.
Yeah, but Fran, like I said, I always love when Fran comes in. She puts hers in because for me it forces me to think a little bit more broadly about what she's saying, and it also gives me something to talk about as well too. So like I said, like I tell her every week, no shade to her, no nothing like that. I appreciate her comments. I appreciate her difference in opinions and everything else, because at the end of the day, it keeps me keeps my mind fresh, keeps me thinking about different stuff. So,
It's
so
James on YouTube.
it's James on YouTube.
Trucking with the Fly Rabbit is my YouTube. I'll put it up here.
Okay. Let's see what's friend saying down there. What's
Fran has
just read my messages. Word to the wise, those that got ears to hear this. You bash other companies, and when you do decide to become a carrier, people might not want to work with you, and that's fine. That's fine. You don't want to work with everybody. I mean, and if you're bashing a company, I mean, a lot of these companies when people are talking smack about them, for example, I'll just say it straight up. What's the name of this? Super Ego.
Oh,
We'll bash Super Ego all day long because I mean, it's at the point where we all know about Super Ego and how they operate. If I decide to become a carrier one day, you think I want to operate like Super Ego? You think I want to be like Super Ego? Do you think I even want to work? If I was a broker, you think I want to work with Super Ego? No, they don't have any morals or standards, so that's okay. I don't have to work with everybody. I can work with those who want to work with me, and that's fine. I mean, in this business, you don't want to burn bridges, and I do understand that, but at the same time, you don't want to cross certain bridges either. So I guess it all depends.
So there's the you put that in the search bar YouTube, you find my channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, I'm very open-minded because what I think today might not be what I think tomorrow or what I think next week. I'm versatile,
Well, and not only that, the business changes not only weekly or even monthly, it changes daily. I mean, the spot markets change. The trucking, I mean, you got to be on top of your game to know. It's just like what I always said, D, and I tell you this a million times. As a truck driver with a perfect driving record, with your years that you have experience, you're like a professional athlete. You got to go where the money is. If
Absolutely.
It requires you to go to another company, then it requires you to go to another company. If it requires you to get your own shit, then you get your own shit. You gotta know what your worth is.
Anyways, we got off track here, man. We were talking about the emissions. So, Shimon, what's your thought about the last article here?
I kind of already said it, but it was like a scam either way around. Like everybody eats off of it except the trucker. Then even extending it out, it's suffocating your engine. So you're not going to get 1,000,000 miles out of that engine. So you're going to buy another truck, buying another engine. So either way, like there's no winning off this new emission stuff. And I mean, it doesn't affect me anymore, which is one reason I am getting, if I do buy a truck, it's more old school. But the past 2 trucks that I had that had emissions on them, let's just say they were no longer California compliant, and the trucks ran a lot better than when they had that crap on it. I got about 15 or so more horsepower. The truck was able to breathe, open up a lot more. I saved a crap ton of money on DEF, not having to buy it, on having to bake the filters. And
your fuel mileage probably went up too, didn't it?
Huh? Oh yeah.
Your fuel mileage went up.
Yeah, I got like an extra 2 miles per gallon.
Yep.
Yeah. Like the truck was able to breathe. It was almost like, remember in COVID when we always had on the face mask? It was like the day when they took away the order and we all got to remove our face mask. That's what it felt like. The truck.
Y'all was wearing face masks the whole time?
Buddy, I never put one on my fucking face.
I never had to. I went to a shipper one time. They were like, "Yeah, you got to wear the mask." And I was like, "How about I just stay in my truck? I can text y'all the information, or I can call y'all. Yeah, but I'm not wearing no goddamn mask, bro. We're like outside in the open. It was not that goddamn serious, bro. Like, chill, man."
And you saw the White House put it on their website now that all that was bullshit. Did you see all that?
Really?
They
I don't
actually
know.
put it
Wow.
on the White House website now that the whole thing was a scam. It was formed in China, just like what they always said. It's on the website of the White House now.
All I know
Not
is
trying
during
to get
COVID,
political.
everything was sweet. Nobody was on the road. You could pick up your load and deliver on time. Matter of fact, you could be there early.
Man,
You ever been on
we
time
were
to
going
a
on
load
base.
in Atlanta, dude? You ever delivered to Atlanta and be
Yeah,
on time? Shoot.
yeah, we were on vacation. We everything in the book that we wanted to ever do, we did it because there was no traffic on the roads. There was no waiting times for anything, any restaurant. Man, we were traveling, doing everything we wanted to during that time when everybody was scared at home.
Man, it could have been the first episode of The Walking Dead, man. We didn't know. All I knew is the roads were empty and I was just chugging along, man. I think I get the best fuel mileage during that time on my truck that I had as a company driver. What? No stop and go, it just straight drive the whole time. Just
Yep.
delivering my loads and coming right back. It was nice.
Mhm.
Let's see. Fran says, I have never worked for them, so I don't have an idea what Super Ego does. And usually, all the negatives that company comes from YouTubers that have no credibility whatsoever. They never made it anywhere. Well, what I have to
Just
say
talk to their
about that,
drivers.
I would not say these YouTubers did not have any credibility, because even the ones that were retarded to even go over there in the first place, and the ones that didn't know no better, everybody spoke the same thing. There's plenty of videos online where they even they recorded their day-to-day activities on how everything worked over at Super Ego. I mean, what's clearer than video evidence of you on the phone talking to your dispatcher, and your dispatcher is telling you that if you want to deliver this load, he's gonna have to reset your logs, and then physically does it right there while you're on video. You can watch, you seeing that they're changing the stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily call them what do you call them? YouTubes that have no. I wouldn't necessarily call them any credibilities. Now the people that go over to Super Ego now, even after you have these millions of views and all that stuff, those are the real idiots right there. And let me tell you something about Super Ego too. If you are a SAP driver and you need to get your you need to finish out your whatever it is that the government is requiring you to do. Oh boy, when they say welcome to the plantation, woo, that's exactly how they cheat you. Boy, you're gonna be like, yes sir, master, let me get some more miles tonight. I could go deliver this
Yeah.
load. That's exactly how they treating you. And you're gonna run 8,000 miles. You're gonna run an $8,000 paycheck and only get $200. Tell me
Yep.
tell me what American company does that. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure there
and
is
then
one, but
everything I've heard about Super Ego, it's never been from a YouTuber. It's been a truck driver at a truck stop.
yeah, look on the
It's not just a YouTube.
Facebooks as well too. People are posting their
Yeah.
settlements all day, every
Yep.
day on Facebook
Yep.
about this. So I wouldn't necessarily call them not credible. 'Cause
Them and
even
Hurricane.
right, that it's crazy, man. I'm not sitting here trying to defend anybody or anything. But I'm definitely not gonna defend Super Ego, man. They are crazy, man. I ran in Texas mostly during COVID because I didn't wear the mask or use the cancerous hand sanitizer. Now, one thing I did have on me all day, every day out, hand sanitizer all day. Just, man, my hands were so crispy, so clean. My hands were hermetically sealed. Okay, that one thing I did have on me at all times was that hand sanitizer, man. Let's see. You do know that if you repeat a thing so many times, you believe it, right? Absolutely. So we say Super Ego's a trash company, and 1,000 people keep saying it, and they keep saying it repeatedly. Of course, it's going to be true. We're just going to leave it like that, man. We got 2 minutes left. Throw your comments up now, man. Anybody got any questions for Shimon here tonight? What's your plans? You got any plans that you want to tell us?
What's 2 minutes? What's that supposed to mean?
We're 2 minutes, 2 hours. I keep telling you, we're doing 2-hour shows, man. I gotta go to sleep. You gotta go to sleep.
I didn't sign up.
Shimon's gotta go to sleep. He gotta go. He gotta go talk to his wife. I signed up for 2 hours.
Last time I checked, it was Trucking with the Fly Rabbit, buddy, not Life on 18 Wheels.
Last time I checked, it's called the Trucking Shit Show.
We never talked about no 2 hours. This ain't the Power 2 hours.
We got one. Hey, Power Hour is 1 hour, man. We got one.
Power
Hey,
2 hours.
So quick, Shimon, what can we be expecting from you in the future, man? Shout your channel out, do all the good stuff, you know.
Yeah, y'all go check me out on Grinding Gears. Grind the letter N Gears. Actually tomorrow I'm trying something new tomorrow over here at Landstar. So y'all have to tune in on Tuesday's video to see what's up. An opportunity has came across my radar, and I'm gonna jump at it and kind of see how it works out. But it's something different. It might be an answered prayer, or it might go terribly wrong. I don't know. But life
That
and
sounds like a
business is all about
cliffhanger, man.
Huh?
That sounds like a cliffhanger from like a TV show from the 70s.
It is.
Man.
It is. And you know what? Y'all are cool people. I'll tell y'all it'll be first heard here. I found a local gig to where I can run local with an agent for the next 6 weeks.
Nice.
So we're gonna try it out and see how it works. And so it's either gonna be a crap show, that's where I'm sitting all day and not moving, not making no money, or it's gonna be an answer to a prayer to where I can be at home every day and off weekends.
What part of Texas do you live in?
I live in Dayton, Texas, which is about an hour and 15 minutes northeast of Houston, but an hour and a half northwest of Beaumont.
So you need to go watch David H. Do you know who he is?
Mm-mm.
David H. was with Prime for years, but he's been away from Prime for about 2 years, and he's with Landstar now. He's been there for about 7 months. He lives in the Houston area, and he's doing a local gig right now. I don't think he talks about it in there, but he says it's horrible. He's not getting any loads or anything. Go catch his channel and see if it's the same thing that you're looking at before you make any jumps.
Oh, no, this is a brand new account. This is only the second week for. So the agent called me. This is a lady I run for all the time.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you said that. That's the same thing he said too. It was a new account that they wanted him because he lived in the Houston area.
Well, no, the only reason she reached out to me, I run a lane for her all the time, coming out of Louisiana, and we were just talking because she lives not too far away from me. The agency she works for, and she had brought it up like, hey, I don't offer this to anybody, but it's a brand new account, and she said it's a crap show right now because it's brand new and shipper and receivers trying to figure out stuff, and it's just shuttling, trailer from back and forth. And she said, it's basically shuttling freight, from this warehouse to that warehouse, and they have I think she said I forgot how many a day, but it was a crap ton of them a day. But she said they're still having issues on paperwork and load time and offload time and trying to schedule it just right. But it's only like a 14-mile trip one way, and so I'm going to try that try it this week, see if it works out. But she's not holding
me to it. She giving you a rate on each load, or is she just giving you a daily rate?
Each load.
Okay.
Yeah, so each load, so I'm going to be doing it, picking up from one spot, taking it 14 miles down the road, and then deadheading back and grabbing the next one. But she said with way it's going now, people are only doing most like 2 a day. And so, but that'll still give me what I'm making, running my minimal running the roads. So, I'm going to try to make it work.
All righty, man. But we got Shimon here tonight. Grinding Gears, guys. Make sure you guys check out his YouTube channel. He posts very consistently, unlike somebody over here that's always sitting on his couch. But, that's no biggie. Hey, we appreciate you coming on tonight with us. Do you have anything left that you would like to say to our audience before we head out here?
No, I just want to say thank you guys for the opportunity. It was definitely fun and definitely knowledgeable, just getting different perspectives on things too. But just thank y'all for inviting me on, and thank y'all for the cool vibes, as people say. But it's always good to be in a community with like-minded people. And looking forward to the next time. I need to get you on my live. Huh?
It was very nice having you on here. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I need to get y'all on my live next. So next time I go live, I'll have to hit y'all up to get y'all on there.
I got you, brother, man. I got you, man. Anyways, I'm winding it down. I want to go cake on the phone. I'm sure Shimon wants to go cake with his wife. I don't know what you want to go do, James, but we out of here.
I'm going to go sleep. Good night, guys.
Everybody, thank you guys for watching our show tonight. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Life on 18 Wheels, and at the Fly Rabbit. And we also have Grinding Gears. See you guys next week. Good night.
Good night, guys.